Welcome back, everybody. This is my ongoing Theory of Everything presentation series. This is part 9, video 2. We left off, this is all about origins of the universe. We left off talking about chemistry and its correlation to wave theory. Also understand about chemistry's role in biology. There's a whole field of science dedicated to this called molecular biology. For those of you who don't know what molecular biology is, I break out my famous alchemy book, and it's a branch of biology dealing with the ultimate physical and chemical organization of living matter, and especially with molecular basis of inheritance and protein synthesis. Kind of interesting there. So I want to reiterate, per the previous conversations, that I do not believe in a constant speed of light as a standard for our scientific community to hold. This contradicts what Einstein did, much of his work, his theory of relativity, $100,000 a year university system, top-level colleges, even private schools, and even NASA and other governmental organizations as well. Like I said, do not believe that it was a constant. Before I go into talking more about this, I want to just explain that this whole presentation series is something that I've been working on for, I'd say, 5 going on 6 years now. Like on a deeper conspiracy level, with I'm getting into John Forbes Nash and how I believe that he really wasn't schizophrenic. Basically ever since Trump was in office, I really believe that my food is being poisoned and other things. I have other deeper conspiracies about his family being from stolen genetics. I'm not going to get into that. Please do not try to sue me by watching any of my presentations. You agree not to sue me. Reliable slander, whatever. So in 2015, one night, I started making this, and basically the whole foundry of wave theory and everything. I had no idea about these, the actual nomenclature. So you get into different dimensions, different, third dimension, fourth dimension, the visible color spectrum, black light, and then you have white light. And the other end, you have your Fibonacci spiral, different polygon shapes, different things to do with biology. Other aspects, the time-space conundrum as we know it, and other calculations. Like I said, I started going through element by element. The brain, 2 hemispheres, really interesting stuff. A lot of other stuff I wanted to incorporate, like pH scale. A lot of this stuff that you already know about. And like I said, there's no time to go in for 17 hours. Nobody would watch any of my presentations, but I wanted to share that with you. I think it's kind of cool in retrospect to go back to that. Now here I finally am doing this. When it's all said and done, it's almost going to be a sad moment for me to have this finished. It's a lot of painstaking work to piece all these pieces of the puzzle together. Whether you agree with me or not, that's your decision. So I left off talking about my contradicting view of the speed of light. John Forbes Nash was 2 weeks away from getting ready to publish a faster than speed of light theory, among his other amazing work. He had all this profound work he did on game theory. He wanted to be a chemical engineer. Really, really interesting stuff with him. Amazing man. I really believe he was killed along with his wife. It's really effed up what they did to him, how they kookified him. And I personally think his wife Alicia was partially to blame. He married her, divorced her, and then I guess married her again. But countless times he tried, 3 or 4 times he tried leaving the country, going to Europe, and getting a visa or citizenship. They wouldn't let him. His wife would call the embassies and get him extradited back here. And it was really, really, really messed up and really, really sad. Like I said, I truly believe the CIA came after him and was poisoning him and driving him crazy. And this is how they do mind control tactics to people to drive them to suicide. They'll send you to a crazy home and then basically try to convince you that you're gonna go crazy and end the rest of your life in a crazy home with crazy people that'll torment you in there. And that's what they do. That's a CIA. That's our American CIA, connected to the Italians and the Roman Catholic Church, and other nefarious organizations. I believe that his wife Alicia, like I said, was not a good person. In the end, but he did end up with her. She, I think, was a CIA plant. Maybe stole his genetics or harvested his genetics for some kind of eugenics programs. But amazing story, amazing man. Really sad in my opinion. His father was an electrical engineer And most definitely he knew about the, like, free energy ideas, and that you could basically make free energy out of magnets and copper wire, just creating a simple field. And he probably, like, this is probably when they started to poison him. He probably, like, had his own little inventions that he, got suppressed just like countless other people. And it's too bad that he didn't go to Russia or China. Maybe they would have saved him. In the end, I can tell you that, like, whoever brings out free energy is going to, like, create a new industrial revolution and probably control the world. I can also tell you that, like, the silver spoon oil money kids are like the cancer of the earth. That, like, they've been perpetuating the lie of just the biggest lie ever told. That we've been needlessly destroying our earth and our atmosphere, depleting our atmosphere of the central oxygen, to perpetuate this lie. And they're like, why don't they, like, come out and just say it's that simple? Like, like stupid Tesla car, you need to have a, you can only go like 200 miles. It's an absolute joke. There's like 20 ways that I've configured, and I can tell you that electrical motors are not the answer. I'm not going to get into it, but let's leave it at that. So we must ask ourselves, if the speed of light as a constant is a lie, what else is a lie? I wholeheartely believe that there's tons and tons of other things. I don't think that NASA and all these other governmental organizations know as much as they say they do. I think that it's like they try to, like, impress you into, like, giving up our hard-earned taxpayer dollars and perpetuating these countless lies. And I told you about in past presentations about how I almost can guarantee, like, prove that the moon landing was a fake conspiracy filmed by Stanley Kubrick and the Disney Studios. Like I said, when the Earth is rotated, there's no way that we would have had communication. And, like, to my knowledge, there's not a single country that's acknowledging that they had a communications base, other than Cape Canaveral or Houston or wherever. This was on Kennedy's watch, and I actually liked Kennedy for the most part before this. But so through a greater understanding of wave theory, it can tell us a lot about the most definite origins of our physical matter and life as we know it. And I got into the whole thing about magnetism, and know that there's a deeper corollary there, and that we're, like I said, we're being lied to. In the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned the elemental forces of nature: earth, wind, fire, water, and how, like, there's mythological representations of the origins of the universe with that. Understand that fire is very special. It gets into the electromagnetic spectrum, and energy is released from one state of matter and takes on a new form. I have a quote, and later on, another thing is I believe that, like, just looking at fire is, like, has health benefits, and, like, you can actually attain the Akashic record. And from, the next presentation I do is going to be on alchemy, and it's a very special presentation. Like, could probably get me killed talking about some of this stuff, like my deepest secrets. So, like, teach you how to do, like, black mass, seances, all kinds of really, really interesting, cool stuff in a way that doesn't demean Christianity, that, like, puts it all together, like, where you're not going to go to hell for doing what I'm doing. So I have a quote. I've been putting, like, all my quotes in here. Like, if there's one quote that I want people to remember me for, it's this one: some people play with fire and get burned, and some do it and look cool. Kind of like a throwback to the 9/11 firefighters too. So, like I said, I believe it has healing abilities, Akashic record, and then per our talk on the speed of light, it gives new dimension to the understanding of an astronomical unit. Yeah, an astronomical unit is the time it takes to travel from the distance of the center of the sun to the distance of the center of the earth. And, like, as of right now, there's this whole understanding of AU, astronomical units, like real big concept in NASA and physics, and, like, it, like, basically changes the whole dynamics of that right off the bat. So another thing is, there's a lot of information, or there's very little information on the solar harmonic spectrum. The book Quadrivium I have is, like, one of the only books that you can actually find. Like, if you search books on the solar harmonic spectrum, good luck. There's, like, maybe 1, 2, or 3 that'll come up. Also, look up tuning forks based on the solar harmonic spectrum. Eileen Day McCusick, I actually have had the privilege of communicating with her through email. Very amazing woman. I think she actually went back to college and to get her doctorate. I hope all is well with her. in this crazy world. But the solar harmonic spectrum, very interesting stuff. And every single planet has its own special frequency. They have certain tuning. If you go on MetaVibe, they have like millions or like hundreds, if not thousands, of tuning forks. And like they have ones that are like tuned to the frequency of certain planets. Really, really cool stuff. I also want to mention about Bruce Cathy's book. He talks about the harmonics of nuclear bombs. And like I said before in other presentations, that they can only be detonated at certain times when the sun is at a certain angle in correlation to the moon and the gravitational field. And because of this, the enemy would be able, any enemy would be able to predict when the opponent was going to be able to detonate a thermonuclear bomb. Whether this is 100% true or not, I don't know, but it totally goes into wave theory. There's a lot of his stuff I disagree with because of the speed of light analysis that I'm purveying to you. Maybe there's some truth to it, I don't know. But again, the 1859 Carrington event basically proves that it's not at a constant speed, in my opinion. There's other reasoning behind this belief that I hold as well. Not going to get into that right now. But like I said, I really believe that meteorites can just manifest out of thin air, given wave theory. And it's not by chance that one hasn't hit us. I want to end this on a corollary to my first segment, per my talk on love and energy. So like this whole understanding of the Big Bang and like this conception of the universe, I met the very first presentation I gave you like the secret to like everything. It's like love and energy. So understand like how this would totally connect to the Big Bang theory, and associated, like I said, directly to the origins of the universe and other galaxies far, far away. Understand again an implied understanding of time and space and how it correlates into other dimensions outside of our three-dimensional facade that we perceive as the entire picture of everything as we know it. There's a lot more going on, and when you understand this, you truly understand how UFOs operate, and it's not like hocus pocus stuff. And like there's a deeper connection between aliens, angels, and God, UFOs. It's not like like to believe in aliens is like to be satanic or something like that. I believe that there are other dimensions of reality that are way more fluid. Like one of the best ways I can describe this is like a lava lamp. Or like if you listen to some of Jimi Hendrix stuff or some of this stuff from back in like the 70s, like I really think that like they were kind of into this whole like fluidity of life. Like I said, there's definitely other levels of reality where everything does not have to be perfectly square and in geometrical tone and adhere to the rigid standards of conformity, like some Freemason shit. Like I really believe that there's like just things, certain places where things flow. One of my favorite quotes to kind of combine to this is Bruce Lee. He said, "Be as water, my friend." Something like when you pour water into a teapot, you become the teapot. When you pour the teapot into a cup, you become the cup. And then like gets into like Dr. Emoto and like how water holds this consciousness. And let me move on. Also, the blue sky is a very, very significant with wave theory and the unified field, and a greater understanding of the divide between heaven and earth. The blue sky, very, very important stuff. I could probably go into more, but I believe that there are missing diary pages also from like people like such as Washington and other luminaries of the past, where they had UFO encounters or like saw stuff moving in the sky that obviously at that time, as far as we know, wasn't military craft or surface to air missiles or anything like that. It was some divine phenomenon. And like I said, I believe that this lie has been perpetuated for a long time. They're starting to bring more and more stuff out about it, but for many years, people that talked about this were like labeled as crazy, and it's really, really sad. I really believe that there's an unveiling that's getting ready to happen soon as well. The whole thing is very perplexing and a deeper quantum mystery. Now we move on to string theory and quantum theory. Both of these theories have a similar roots of origin. Quantum theory is an overlap of various other theories, and rather than pushing an individual single understanding itself, it attempts to connect the pieces of the proverbial puzzle and explaining how things work. This is called quantum mechanics. I love quantum physics, and have a great passion for quantum mechanics. Like, this is like the heart of basically what I'm doing here. Understand that even to move 1 grain of sand off the beach will affect the course of future outcomes. My mother told me this a long time ago. There's a classic scene in the Back to the Future movie when like they start to alter the course of past time, and there's this picture, and like the picture starts to fade. Really, really impactful. It's like on that level. Like I said, it's known as the axiom of causality. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And again, like I said, everything diametrically opposed. Up is to down, left is to right, positive energy to negative energy. You get the point. Briefly before going into string theory, I want to mention quantum entanglement. A very brilliant ex-Air Force computer technician told me about this. Like, I was going through like some of my books and talking about stuff with him, and he was like, "You want to know something really cool? Go look up quantum entanglement, or quantum particles." And like, it was like very like it's so deep that there's not even really nomenclature to like explain it. It's like, basically, I'll try to do my best here, but please look this up if you have a deep love of physics as I do. But I've been intrigued ever since I heard about it. It's like one of the greatest quandaries in modern science and physics. There really aren't actually, like I said, words to go into it, but it's deep. And when you take these quantum fibers or quantum mesh, and you rub them together and you separate them, what happens to the one happens to the other, even at great distances. Like, even if you put one in space and leave one here, like, say one starts to turn red, the other will turn red, like thousands of miles away. Or one bends, the other will start to bend as well. I can't confirm this. I don't know anything about it. But my guess, it like ties into some deeper element of consciousness. So while I'm talking about the whole color change thing, another aspect of science that's really cool is bioluminescence. Certain people like light up. Sometimes you see me in my presentations, I probably get real animated and light up. But fish, and like there's like the coolest thing is a lightning bug. The lightning bugs used to like cover the whole entire field. I remember growing up when I was younger, just sitting out in amazement thinking about how cool it was. They were starting to you still see them, but not as much as you used to. Really, really sad there. Lightning bugs cool. If you ever been offshore fishing, you probably got into catching mahi, dolphins, some people call them dorado. The coolest thing, look up mahi picture, like they change color, light up, the coolest thing ever. Blue marlin, like right when it comes into a spread, like it gets this certain color of blue, like it's like ready, like just lit up blue, electric blue, like almost you can't produce the same color again. Amazing stuff. Definitely look up bioluminescence. I'm going to elaborate more on human consciousness later on, towards the end. I could put it in here, but I'm not. And it also interests me, another thing I wanted to incorporate is how magnets are made. Like, if you look up, like, there's various presentation or videos on how magnets are made. Like, from what I understand, I don't think there's even one company that makes them in America anymore. I think they're pretty much all made in China. But, like, how a magnet is made can probably tell us a lot about the origins of the universe. Before going into string theory, I want to show a famous picture. I could have showed this at the beginning, but this is in the Sistine Chapel. Everybody probably knows this. This is the birth of Adam, or the creation of Adam, I think it is, on this by Michelangelo on the Sistine Chapel ceiling, and like he's like giving like spark or energy to like Adam, or giving life. And it's said, like my teacher in college, arts and humanities or something like that, said that there's supposed to be, like, if you get real close to it, almost an electrical spark or a string in between, like a microscopic or a very small string in between the two fingers. It represents like a spark and gets probably into this deeper implied notion of string theory. Just wanted to share that with you as well. You guys know how I feel pretty much about the modern Christianity and the Roman Catholic Church and the lies that are perpetuated there. There's also said to be, so string theory interlinks quantum mechanics with varying other models of the origins of the universe. And, I postulate that quantum strings, are basically charged particles, think black and white, like the yin and the yang, interact with light and gravity to manifest into an explainable order model of physics. like these little black and white fibers, or like these little charged pieces, particles of energy, subatomic particles, like that aren't like smaller than matter even, or like basically come together. I don't like it as much as other models because it relies heavily on Einstein's theory of relativity and it's based on a constant speed of light, which I disagree with. String theory also gets into sacred geometry, and I don't have time to go hog wild here about the whole thing with sacred geometry. Originally, I was going to do a whole presentation on sacred geometry, but I think I've incorporated enough of it to where you get the point. But there's it goes deeper into chemistry and the magic of hexagonal formations of chemical structure. When you like start to get into chemistry class, like they're all like hexagonal formations. Like if you ever see a snowflake, also hexagonal formation. Like the hexagonal formation shows up beehives. A classic example is with the beehive, and it's basically God's perfect engineering. There's like no better way that a bee could have designed a hive for like for like structure and for efficiency than the hexagonal formation. Please look this all up and do research for yourself. A side note on the beehive stuff. Okay, so I've talked in the past presentations about candles. I'm real big on. I have ones from the Ukrainian church, and I have ones from also Russia as well, the church there. I would consider selling on this channel if anybody actually would be interested. I'm considering making my own. I have a good friend, an Amish buddy that has beehives. He sells honey. He sells beeswax as well. Got an amazing smell to it. The reason I brought this and I wanted to show you, understand that if we start to have an imbalance in our ecological system, and like the bees start to die off, this is worth more than a bar of gold. We can destroy our earth all we want, drilling oil, drilling gas, but like if we lose the bees, we lose everything. And just understand that this will be worth more than gold, hypothetically. Maybe not to some people, but as far you get where I'm going with that. Like I said, I encourage, anything I'm saying, you don't understand, please spend some time to research it. You could spend lifetime reading books and go crazy in the process trying to conceptualize it all and bridge the various gaps. So now I want to emphasize how we could talk about how could we talk about the beginning without the end? I'm actually going to stop this right here and go into another video to finish up. That way there's not a very small portion at the end. So I'm going to continue with video number 3. I had video number 1. This is video number 2. And we're going to continue with video number 3. See you soon.